Good evening. It is Wednesday, the 24th of October. I'm looking at the wrong calendar of April. Sorry, been working on my schedule for stuff. Anyway, as I noted in my Facebook post, just out and about today, listening to the talking head on the radio, and things coming up that just get me thinking and wondering what the hell is going on with people. And of course, the big thing right now is we're spending more money on Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. Now, why? You're probably thinking to yourself, well, Floyd, why is that such a big deal? We do that all the time, don't we? Well, yeah, unfortunately, we do. And both sides do it, and both sides tell you that there are wonderful reasons why they're doing it. Philanthropic reasons. We're good people. We're the leaders of the free world. We need to be doing this stuff. Yeah, except that, I've read the Constitution a couple of times. All right. I have a few copies on the the bookshelves behind me. And so I think I'm pretty familiar with it. I don't remember anything in there that authorizes our federal government to take our tax dollars and send it to another country for any reason at all, period. Now, if you can find it in there, please post it in the comment section and let me know, because I'd love to see it, love to know where it is. I don't know, the paragraph, chapter, sentence, whatever, what article it's under. But they keep doing it. Now, the reason this most recent episode of spending our tax dollars is so galling is, you remember a few weeks back, I know it's a long time ago. I know Americans have memories about as long as their nose. They got the attention span of a goldfish. But you remember this bridge that got knocked down in Baltimore? I'm sure you saw it on the news. It was all the rage for a while. And we were told, of course, that, as you would expect from the news media, the big focus was, well, America's infrastructure is crumbling. This is not the only problem we have. This is not the only bridge that may collapse or may get knocked down because it's not structurally sound. We need to spend more money on our infrastructure. But after they tell you that, then they and the politicians that they echo will tell you, but we just don't have enough money in the budget for that. We're going to have to we're probably going to have to raise taxes. We're going to have to find some way to find the money to fix America's infrastructure, right? Come on, guys, you've heard that. Except that they never find the money and it never gets fixed. Well, now, how does that happen? How can they find $60+ billion, billion with the B, in case I'm not enunciating well enough, to send to other countries like Ukraine? And before my right-wing friends, my conservative Republican friends, try to have at me, I remember you guys. I remember you screaming and hollering about, why are we sending money to Ukraine? Well, Ukraine shouldn't be getting our money. We shouldn't be sending our money across the ocean to other countries. And then Hamas and Israel. And oh my God, you couldn't scream loud enough, fast enough to tell your elected representatives to send more money to Israel. I say more money because we already send them $8 billion a year just on the regular. I wonder what they're doing with all that money. What do you think they're doing with it? But it's apparently not enough, because we need to send more. And of course, Taiwan, because Taiwan is our ally in the Pacific. And, we've got to spend all of our money on our allies because our allies aren't going to spend any money on themselves. What kind of idiot would do that? So I'm looking at these articles here. Got a couple pulled up. Let me see. This one is the New York Times, dated, where's the date? Here it is, April 23rd, 2024, New York Times, online. All right, the components of the bill are nearly identical to one that passed the Senate with bipartisan support in February of this year. It includes $60.8 billion for Ukraine, $26.4 billion for Israel, and humanitarian aid for civilians in conflict zones, including Gaza, and $8.1 billion for the Indo-Pacific region. Okay, so it's $95 billion plus dollars going to other countries. But we just don't have enough to fix our infrastructure. Now, having said that, there's a couple of things you should do. The first thing I'm going to encourage you to do, and this takes me back to 2010 when I first ran against Eric Cantor, and I was telling people, look at his voting record. And they looked at me like I had two heads. Well, why would I do that? He just made a speech, and it was on the news yesterday saying he was going to do this, and he was going to do that, and he was going to cut spending, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know what he said, but that's not what he did. And now the 1st district, which used to be part of the 7th district, now represented by Rob Whitman. Well, guess what Rob Whitman voted for? But he's a Republican, so it's okay, right? Bunch of morons. Look up the term useful idiots. Anyone who supports this crap, whether you're a Republican, whether you're a Democrat, Libertarian, I don't care what your political persuasion is, if you continue to support sending our tax dollars to other countries, you are a useful idiot. And it's okay, apparently, if you think you're getting something out of it, or if your party looks good as a result of it. In the meantime, think of all the things here in this country, and there are things, if we get into that, I'll be here for hours. There are things that the federal government should be spending money on and things that it should not be spending money on. But even if it's in the category of should not be spending money on, if they at least kept it in America and spent American tax dollars on Americans, I could cut them a little bit of slack. But this crap of sending it overseas to other countries just to curry favor with them and their governments is a bunch of bullshit. And it needs to stop. But it's not going to stop. And both parties keep doing it. And they're going to keep doing it because you keep voting for them and you keep telling them it's okay. And you don't do anything to hold them accountable for it. So why would you think they're going to change? Oh, you like to get mad at the other party. They're always wrong. Even when they do something decent, you can't find anything good to say about it. But your party does the same damn thing, and then it's humanitarian. It's the right thing to do. I don't know how else to describe it to you. I mean, something's wrong with the way you think. I just don't get it. John's chiming in. John says 34 plus trillion in debt. No possibility of slowing down, much less paying down. F both parties. Yeah, I'm right there with you, John. But you knew that already, didn't you? Yeah. So, how much deeper in debt do we have to get before somebody finally steps up and says, hey, maybe we should stop doing this? But see, here's what's going to happen. If any of you have the stones to challenge Whitman and say, hey, why did you vote for this? You shouldn't have voted for it. He's going to point to the bill and say, well, there was other stuff in the bill. There were humanitarian efforts in the bill. There were other infrastructure items in the bill. So this is how they get you. This is how they suck you in and make you feel bad. Oh, well, gosh, I didn't know that was in there. It's because you don't have standalone bills. If we had standalone bills where the only item in that bill was $65 billion to Ukraine, then maybe they would vote against it because they couldn't defend themselves later and say, well, there was the other stuff in the bill. That's what I was really voting for. Yeah, that's 60 billion. That's a pain. And I'm not crazy about it either. But there was that other stuff. To those who have the stones in Congress to vote against this stuff because they know that's the right thing to do, good on you. Your names should be trumpeted. But unfortunately, there aren't very many of them. So once again, when it comes to the standalone bills, they keep getting away with that crap because you let them. Oh, yeah, my Republican congressman voted against that bill for personal welfare to poor families because that's not in the Constitution. He shouldn't be voting for that stuff. Oh, but he voted back in 2008 to bail out, the AIG, and he voted to bail out the car dealerships, car manufacturers. So that was cool. That was okay because they're too big to fail, right? So it's welfare. You call it personal welfare, corporate welfare. It's still welfare. It's still taking your money and my money, even if it's only half a cent on the dollar. They're taking our money and giving it to some business who is too stupid to know how to run their business correctly to make a profit. So instead of saying to them, well, you're just going to have to declare bankruptcy, restructure, and come back with a better business model. Oh, no. Here's a few $1 billion from the American taxpayers. We'll bail you out. Well, when that happened, and that was one of the things that prompted me to run for Congress back in 2010, when you went to the car dealers after that to buy a car, did you get a break on the price? Did they say, oh, thank you for that bailout money, and here, we're going to knock a couple of thousand off that car you want to buy? Anybody? I sure as hell didn't. I didn't see where we were getting any kind of breaks. But, it's all good because they're giving more money to the people that need it. You don't need it as much. You don't know how to spend your own money anyway because you're just a stupid peon. The government and the people who infest the government know more than you do and are smarter than you are and know better how to spend your money. So just shut up and get over it. Now, I'm talking about infrastructure before, and what do they plan to do to fix it? Well, I'm looking at an article now from Wired. This is April 16th of this year. U.S. infrastructure is broken. Here's an $830 million plan to fix it. That's $830 million with an M as in Mary. Now think about that for a minute. I want you to think about that. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds, especially any liberals out there listening. $830 million for infrastructure repairs throughout the United States. What is wrong with this picture? So we've got $60 billion to send to Ukraine, $26 billion to send to Israel, $8 billion to send to Taiwan, but we can only muster $830 million to fix America's infrastructure plans. And for those of you who want to talk about the wall that Trump wanted to build, okay, let's talk about the money for that. How much was that going to cost? I think and you correct me if I'm wrong, I think the figure was around $5 billion for the wall. We didn't have enough money for that. That's what the Democrats are screaming. We just don't have enough money for that. There's not enough money in the budget for that wall. Yeah, but there's enough money in the budget for other countries. What am I missing here, folks? Help me out. Come on, if you know something I don't know, please tell me because I'm willing to learn. And you can look up articles that go back to 2021 and beyond about fixing infrastructure in the United States. How can we do it? What do we need to do? Of course, raising taxes is one of the options. But you know what? To those of you, right or left, who think we need to raise taxes to fix our infrastructure, you're an idiot. Can I be any more clear than that? You're an idiot. If we've got $60 billion just to send to Ukraine, I'm not going to include the other countries in this figure, just the $60 billion to send to Ukraine, then we already are taxed too much. They've got plenty of money to fix American infrastructure, but what they're going to do with it is save it for a time when they need it for votes. See, I just voted for this bill to send more money to build a bridge in Montana. We have to repair the bridges in Montana because they're some of the oldest and most dilapidated. Oh, and by the way, I'm coming up for election this next month, so vote for me. You see how they play you, how they use you, and you go along with it because as long as it makes your party look good, that's all that matters. The rest of the country can go to hell. The right versus wrong, who cares about that? Constitutionality, is it authorized for the federal government to do that? It doesn't matter as long as it makes me and my party look good. And notice I said me and my party. I didn't say left or right. I didn't say Democrat or Republican because you both do it. And you know damn well that you do it. But you're willing to overlook it when your side's getting good marks, when your side looks good. You know it's wrong, but you're still willing to overlook it. So there we are. We're continuing to spend billions of dollars. We're continuing to go deeper into debt. As John pointed out a few minutes ago, 34 trillion with a T in debt. Well, now when you're in debt, Mr. and Mrs. America, what are you expected to do with that debt? You just keep piling onto it and eventually hope somebody's just going to say, well, you know what? You're never going to be able to pay that back, so don't worry about it. You think that's going to happen? Yeah, try it. Let me know how it works out for you. Blade Runner Tool Sharpening chimes in and says, so little, if any of that money actually reaches where it's supposedly targeted for. Well, that's true. I mean, look, when it comes to Ukraine, when it comes to Israel, when it comes to Taiwan, any of that money that we send elsewhere, just think money laundering. That's all it is. What they don't get back in actual money, they hope that they're going to curry favor with these other countries and maybe get some special favors later. You think they're doing it for you and me? You think they're doing it because it's the right thing to do? How stupid are you? Do you really think that your U.S. federal government, and I could include state and local as well, but right now we're talking feds, do you really think your federal government gives a shit about you? Do you think it cares about your freedom and your rights? Do you think that your federal government cares about your personal debt? Oh, they'll care about it. They'll try to convince you that they do. If they can send some money your way, like, I don't know, paying off college tuition, and thus curry your favor to get their vote later. I mean, folks, it's so transparent. It's so easy to see. I don't understand how you don't get it. You have to be willingly stupid, not willingly ignorant. Ignorance is just not knowing. Stupid is not knowing and not wanting to learn. Because you keep doing the same thing over and over again. What is it? Albert Einstein said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. All I can say is there's a lot of insanity in this country right now. Because a lot of people keep doing the same things and they think it's going to change. It's going to be different. We'll fix it next time. One of the first things we can do is demand a referendum on single issue legislation, standalone bills. They're not going to vote for it. Stop it. Stop asking them to. They're not going to do it. They benefit from lying to you. They benefit from cheating you. They benefit from taking your money and stealing it from you. They're not going to do anything to interfere with that. Both parties love it. Do you understand? Republicans and Democrats are both crooked. They don't care about you. They want your money and they want power for themselves. That's all they care about. They'll tell you what they think you want to hear in order to curry your favor, in order to get support, in order to get money. But at the end of the day, they don't give a damn what you think. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. So let's start getting some standalone bills. Make these guys have to vote straight up on aid to Ukraine. Are we going to send them $60 billion? Or are we going to include it in a package with 13 other laws so that we can later go back and say, well, I know that $60 billion was uncalled for, but you know what else was in the bill? And that's why I voted for it. I voted for that other stuff. Maybe your district's getting something out of it. Oh, Cantor loved that one. And you guys that voted for him, you loved it too. Oh, well, I voted to, some of that money is going to be coming to Virginia, specifically the 7th district. We'll be getting some of that money too. Oh, well, that's okay then. Yeah, I know that other crap is wrong and we shouldn't have done it. But as long as we're getting some money, it's all good. Oh, man. My wife asked me before I came up here, I told her I was going to make another video and what it was about. And she said, do people listen to your videos? Does anybody pay attention to that stuff? Because you always sound so angry. She can hear me, even though I've got the door closed. She'll hear me and say, you sounded really angry. And I just look at her and said, well, why the hell shouldn't I sound angry? There's a lot to be angry about. And nobody seems to be doing anything about it. Yeah, I know. I'm maybe spitting in the wind. All right. Let's just think of this, as I often do, as therapy for me. It's a chance to get this stuff off my chest. All right. And then at the end of the day, that might not do me any good either. People just don't care. But at least it makes me feel a little better because I got the message out there. Who knows who might see it? Who knows who it may or may not influence? So, yeah, Blade Runner Tool Sharpener says we're all angry. Well, yeah, we should be. There's a lot to be angry about. And I'm so tired. I know why they do it. I know why they lie to us and why they treat us like fools, because there are so many people out there that are fools and love being talked to like that and told the things they want to hear instead of being told what they need to hear. Beat me again, Daddy. I mean, I don't know. I could go on, but if you don't get it by now, there's no point. So once again, more money going across the ocean. And in the meantime, here in America, we don't have enough money to finish the wall, and we don't have enough money to fix our infrastructure. But the folks in Ukraine are loving it. The folks in Israel are loving it. So if you're one of those people, I said it earlier, I'm going to say it again. If you're one of those people who thinks this is okay and keeps voting for people who do this stuff, you are a useful idiot. I don't know how else to put it.